but on very short notice, legendary voice of the Clemson Tigers. He's doing baseball in Boston right now, Don Munson. How are you, young man? You got your Clemson button down on there, looking good bright and early.
Hey, Tom, it's a solid Orange Friday here, even in Boston, so we're all ready to go. Doubleheader ahead of us, but looking forward to it. Appreciate you having me on. This is a thrill for me to be able to talk with you.
Well, I really, really appreciate it. You know, I have some really good friends down there in Clemson, down there in your area, and the Maloneys, I don't know if you know them. One of their sons plays for the Clemson football team, was a walk-on. He's been a high school coach here for a long time. We come down to visit from time to time. Beautiful, beautiful campus. Tell us about Myles Murphy, Don.
Myles is a guy that basically from the time that he stepped foot on campus at Clemson was a guy that the moment last night was what he was focused on, was becoming a player in the National Football League and being a first-round draft pick in the National Football League. And I think Cincinnati got themselves an absolute gem. I mean, I really do. He's a guy that knows how to set the edge. Maybe he didn't have the biggest sack numbers in the college game, but I think in the pro game, those numbers can go up significantly.
Let's talk about him, first of all, his strengths. I mean, I can sit there and watch, 3, 4, 5 minutes of his highlight reel. And, I mean, you and I look great on a highlight reel, right? You do, I don't. But, I mean, we can sit there and watch him. When you just zero in on his strengths, they would be what?
I think one would be physical strength. He is a tremendously strong young man. Speed is going to be something else that he brings to the table. And that, so you're talking about strength and speed, and that the word athleticism certainly comes to mind. But he also is a guy that he knows how to play his position. I mean, he knows what is expected of him at defensive end. Coach Sweeney always uses a phrase, hey, you just do your job. You're part of 11 pieces that are on the field. So you do your job. Don't try to do somebody else's. Don't let somebody else do your job. And Myles is a guy that when he's going to be coached up, and he's going to get coached up by Marion Hobby now, defensive lineman coach there at Cincinnati, one of the best that there is. Marion's going to take great care of him and is going to teach this young man even some more just basic fundamentals of the game. He's fundamentally sound, is Myles, but he also has that ability to just, at times, just make the wow play. And as a defensive end, you only have to make the wow play 3, 4, 5 times a game, and you are considered among the elite.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Okay, things he probably would need to work on. That coaching would probably look at him and they'd say, okay, these are a couple of areas, and all of us have them. We can get better in this and this and this and this. He probably needs to get better where? His strength is rushing the passer. He handles the run game pretty well. Where would he need to get better?
I would say that probably maybe he needs to get better a little bit using his hands a little bit better, which is very teachable and very coachable. But, Myles is a guy that at times has just depended upon his strength, depended upon his athleticism to get by a left tackle or a right tackle, wherever they're gonna line him up. But I would say that, the art of using your hands, I think, is something that is maybe a little bit lost to most people, but he needs to get a little bit more heavy-handed, use that leverage for him to get by. But again, I think that his best football is still way ahead of Myles Murphy.
You really can't draw conclusions. I like to try and do it. I'm always fascinated by where the kids are during the draft. They send the quote-unquote big guys to New York and all that kind of thing. And then you'll see some other kids that make the decision to be at home with their families. And I got to tell you, there was something that I found really, really positive in just watching him for that short amount of time with his family at home when he got drafted. What's he like as a kid?
He's a tremendous person. That's the other thing that Cincinnati is going to get in this young man. They're going to get a young man now that knows what life is about, all right? Even though he's pretty young, but he's going to represent the program. He's going to represent the city. He's going to represent in the greatest way possible. I mean, he's that solid of an individual. He's not going to get into trouble. I will be absolutely shocked if something negative comes out about Myles Murphy off the field. That's just not going to happen with Myles. So I think that's first and foremost, and I think that's important in the National Football League, particularly in this day and time. He's not a guy that's big on social media. He doesn't, go around and flaunt that a ton. He just wants to go out, be Myles Murphy, and he will do some significant things for the community as he starts to work his way through his career. He'll be very active in the community in some way, shape, or form, and I always think that's a big, big plus for any NFL team.
There is no doubt about it. Obviously, this kid was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school in Georgia, and you guys found a way to get him. I'm guessing, I didn't follow him at the time. I'm guessing he could have gone anywhere he wanted to, right?
Oh yeah, he could have gone anywhere that he wanted to. And actually, it was kind of interesting when we were recruiting him. Was at the same time that Clelin Ferrell was finishing up his career at Clemson. Of course, Cleve was part of the 18 national championship team, ended up being the 4th overall pick by the Raiders in the draft that year. So Cleve was kind of a bit of his recruiting process as well, and was all right, Myles saw, all right, here's a defensive end from Clemson going number 4 in the draft. That's something that, I want to do is be a first-round pick. So that helped getting Myles Murphy to Clemson.
I don't want to let you get out of here without talking a little bit about the Clemson program right now. It's been one of the 3, 4, 5 best in the country, multiple national championships, all that kind of thing. Last 2 years have not been to the college football playoff. What is the state of Clemson football right now?
Well, if you listen to William Christopher Sweeney, he'll tell you that the program has never been in a better situation. And I love it. And I understand. I'm dressed in orange. I see things through orange-colored glasses. I am definitely all in with Dabo. There's no part of me that is not. So I'm going to believe in that because he hasn't been wrong. Tom, I will take you all the way back. 2010, Clemson goes to the Meineke Car Care Bowl in Charlotte, North Carolina, a 6-6 team, and they lose to Skip Holtz and South Florida. And so this is now the second full year that Dabo has been the head coach. He took over midway through the 2008 season, but he walked right into that press conference, even after that, and he looked at the press score and he said, guys, listen, I realized this season did not end the way that we thought that it was going to end. But he said, what I have seen from this team and this program makes me believe that we are about to head off on the greatest decade in Clemson football history. And that's saying a lot. And then he went out. Now, raise your hand if you thought that was true at that time. There weren't many people that raised their hand, but he believed it. And he made it come to fruition. He's not afraid to make the tough choices when there has to be a staff change. He's not afraid to make those decisions. He did it this year, firing an offensive coordinator that was a Clemson guy and Brandon Streeter, and bringing in, obviously, Garrett Riley now as the new offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. But he's a guy that he wants to be the best of the best. Best is the standard at Clemson. And there's no doubt that he calls it the roaring 20s, what we're about to go through. And he says it's going to be better. He says it's going to be better than the decade before. And I'm not going to doubt the man. I'm just not going to sit here and doubt him.
I got it. I've shared this story before. I've only seen him one time in my life, and we were at a vacation place where I guess he goes regularly down in Florida. We were down there visiting some friends, and they have one full-court basketball court outside on this little island. And our son and a couple of buddies of his went over there to play basketball. He comes walking back. He says, Dad, you're not going to believe who's over there in the basketball court. I said, who's that? He says, Dabo. I said, yeah. You're kidding, right? So I walk over there, and my son, and I'm just kind of standing, 30, 40 yards away. And, it's not 10 minutes later. He's got all these kids rounded up, coaching them up, divvying up teams and getting them to play and play hard. And I thought to myself, man, how cool is that? I'd send my kid to play for that guy any day of the week.
Well, I would too. If I had a son that could go play for him, believe me, I would do that absolute same thing. And he's not, he coached Little League in Clemson while his boys were coming up. Now they've all aged out, but he did that for almost 10, 12 years. He was so he was the head coach. And he was also the third base coach. So you can imagine how aggressive he was. And they were winning. They won stuff. I mean, it wasn't like they were showing up and being like a 5-7 team or something. No. They were, like 12-0, 11-1. So there was purpose even there. He's a guy, when you walk into the facility at Clemson, it is all based around, it's based around education, because you walk right in, and the Paul journey, what we call Paul journey, which is all about the academic side of the athlete, is right in. You come in the building, it's right the first thing you see there to the right-hand side. But then as you walk through the building, Tom, it's all about competition. And everything is designed around competition. He wants his guys at all times to be doing that within our facility. And then, when on game day, all he asks them is, hey, listen, I just want you to go out there, give me whatever your best is today that you can give me your best. When you walk off that field today afterwards, if you say that you have given me your best, I don't care what the scoreboard says, then I can live with that. But if you don't, I'll hold you accountable. And I think that's another big thing, is particularly with young kids today. I think they want to be held accountable. I don't know that we do that very much in our society anymore. We kind of coddle them a little bit. Kids want accountability. They want discipline. And I think that's another big selling point for Clemson football, no doubt about it.
Well, we can't thank you enough for your time. I know you're really busy today, Don. You got a doubleheader coming up today there at Boston College. Thank you so very much on such short notice for taking time out of your morning.
Tom, I can't leave without telling you this. I'm an App State grad, okay? Appalachian State grad. I watch your broadcasts of Michigan App State every summer. My wife and I get together. We watch it every summer. We love some Thom Brennaman in the Munson household, baby. I want you to come see us. I want you to come visit us in Clemson. You got my phone number now. Yep. I expect a call. You can come to any game you want to. November 4th, we're playing Notre Dame. You want to be there? You got a seat, baby. We would love to have you come and see us in Clemson. We can show you what Tiger Town is all about. Believe me, you're going to love it even more.
Well, Don, I really appreciate that very much. And the best of luck today. And we'll check back with you when we get closer to football season to start talking about the Clemson Tigers.
That'd be great. Appreciate it. Let me spread a little gospel of the Clemson Tigers. Go Tigers.
Amen. All righty. Well, I mean, you had Jackson Carman down there. He's a Cincinnati kid, right?
Yeah.
You had him down there. So they're already, they're recruiting up here. Clemson recruits everywhere. They're like Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia.